Hi, my name is Jim Payne and I work with Custom Education Designs, which operates HomeLink Yakima, a local learning center, and North Atlantic Regional High School. CED is a nonprofit organization that works with homeschooling families to help them provide an excellent education for their kids. If you've not homeschooled before, it may seem like a daunting thing, and it definitely did for my wife and I, but the possibilities of homeschooling are amazing and well worth your time considering it. In just a moment, April Thome is going to share a bunch of great information, tips to help make homeschooling more effective and easier. So even if you've been homeschooling for a long time, you're going to be helped by these tips. And if you're thinking about homeschooling, the following information should also help you think through that option for you. So thanks in advance for watching.
I am April Thome, on staff at HomeLink Yakima, offering long-time tested ideas for those who are interested in homeschooling their children. These guidelines apply to all ages of students, but high school students are going to require additional considerations, and we will also create another workshop strictly for homeschooling the high schooler. First of all, in the state of Washington, there are legal requirements to fulfill. First of all, you need to go to the administration office located in your place of residence and pick up an intent to homeschool form. Fill out that form and file it with the district yearly. That puts them on notice that you are homeschooling, and therefore your student will not be truant. You qualify to homeschool in 3 ways. If you have 45 college credits, or if you've taken a 10-hour homeschool qualifying course, and you can check on the WHO website, that's the Washington Homeschool Organization website, for a list of those online courses. You can also qualify if you work with a certified teacher, checking in with that person once a week. So once you qualify, you must also keep immunization records at your home, and you must provide and keep records of yearly testing. And yearly testing can be done at HomeLink Yakima, and we'll have that posted on our website. Okay, once you qualify, here are HomeLink's 8 essential guidelines for an organized homeschooling experience. First of all, number 1, you will need to select your resources, curriculum, or texts, and it must suit the student's academic level. So that gets to be quite a large problem for parents to do. There's no recommendations that will come from the public schools. So I'm going to give you some ideas on where to start there with your search. First, you need to know the core subjects that are required every year, and I'll give them to you in order of importance. Language arts, which is going to include writing, spelling, grammar, literature, is required every year. Math is required, and then science is required, and then a history, geography is required. Those are your 4. To accomplish this, you may choose first an established program that provides in-person instruction, such as HomeLink Yakima, or you might choose classical conversation. Some people get together in study groups or co-ops, so that's 3 ways to get in-person group instruction. There are also comprehensive package programs, such as Sunlight, Alpha Omega, Abeka, or Bob Jones. That's among many. You may also choose from numerous online options. An alternative to all of these is to select your own texts and resources. Rainbow Resource is a curriculum seller that offers a huge catalog of choices. Nice thing about Rainbow is that underneath the titles of the books, they give you some of their suggestions and ideas, and they also list the age groups that they're appropriate for. However, there's a lot here, so it can be overwhelming. You can go to www.rainbowresource.com and look at it online or order a catalog. When the books arrive, study the table of contents. Look and see how many lessons there are, and then try to fit all those lessons into the year that you have figured out you're going to have. Some homeschools may have 30 weeks in their year. Some homeschools may spread out the learning over the whole year, 52 weeks. So figure out about the pace you're going to cover. Start with the math. Usually there's about 160 lessons in the math. If you're going to have a 30-week school, figure out how many lessons you need to do each week. HomeLink has something called a lesson agenda, and we have it scheduled out for 30 weeks, and you can download one of those online from the download section, and then you've got the weeks just spread out, and you can just write in what you want to cover each week. Now, don't make this complicated. This is not lesson plans. Only put in the chapter titles. It just gives you a basic guideline, but at least you know about the pace. It's going to help you immensely in January and March when you're thinking, is all this going to come together? And it also really encourages you to finish the books. How important is it to finish the books? Well, Algebra 2 is dependent on a student learning Algebra 1 all the way through. A lot of science books are like that too, so we encourage you to try to finish the book. A lot of students I know never studied World War I or World War II because they didn't finish the history book. So it is important for you to try to do that as best you can. Number 3, for your homeschooling setup, prepare a place and time for your student. That place should be an area in the house that the student can call his own. In other words, books and unfinished assignments can be left there, open and just laying there, and will be in the same place when the student goes back to it. So a kitchen table is not ideal because you need to have dinner and breakfast and lunch. You need to clear it off. So have a place where they can save those things and they can count on them being there for them, open in the same condition. And then another thing is the time. Guard your homeschool time and give the student time they can count on, whether it's morning time, afternoon time, evening time, whatever works best for them. Know that they've got that time they can count on. People will not be coming by. Errands will not be run. They can count on that time every day. And then, number 4, set a daily start time. So if you can have the students meet together, you can do some engaging things, some welcoming things with them. For instance, you can start off with brain teasers, or puzzles, or short mysteries, or you can start off with a YouTube cartoon drawing lesson that just invites the students to join you. They'll want to come and do that first thing on the list. And from there, after that's been accomplished, it may be 10 minutes, then have them go their separate ways or stay together, whatever works, to do the first lesson that is on their agenda. And I recommend the first lesson be the hardest lesson, whatever is hardest for them. Math might be the hardest. Reading might be the hardest. But once they get that over, the rest of the day is going to seem so much more simple. Number 5, allow and even insist that your students take breaks during the day, because physical exercise will refresh the oxygen in their systems and make learning more efficient. If you see a student starting to get tired and just can't concentrate, getting frustrated easily, it's time to get some oxygen into their systems. Make sure that they move and not just sit. Some students might need to eat a little something, and you, of course, being a parent, will be careful about what they eat. For more information on learning styles and needs, we have a book that is available here at HomeLink called Who Are You as a Learner and a Student, that will talk to you about breaks and how your students learn best and how to make them efficient learners. That can be ordered off the website. Number 6, set an end time for lessons daily, so students know they have limited time to accomplish their study goals. After the time is up, allow students to enjoy an activity that they have saved and set aside for later, so that then and only then can they do that chosen activity. It could be listening to music, playing computer games, playing with the dog, riding the horse, seeing friends, watching a show, whatever your student really, really likes to do, don't let them do it until they have finished their lessons. It will give them motivation to finish. Number 7, provide steady feedback on the quality and accuracy of students' work. For math problems, correct them daily. Have students redo problems so that they don't set inaccurate learning habits. Determine if students are answering questions fully. Do they meet the family standard, or are they just getting by? If they know that they're going to be held accountable every day, they will keep that quality up. And at the end of each study day, schedule a visual display of the student's work. This could be the task of the other parent. The work is shown and compared to the set goals for the day. And from this meeting, written guidelines could be given for the next day. Make sure the work is given as a visual display. Much student motivation hinges on this. Make it visual. Number 8, as the days and weeks go by, save all completed work in one box for each student. As the work accumulates, it will be layered in the box from old to more recent. Don't throw anything away until the end of the year. The older students become, the more important this work-saving habit becomes. Eventually, you'll implement more precise procedures, but for now, one box per student is sufficient. Along with the state law given at the beginning and these 8 essential requirements, next, HomeLink offers 8 tips to help deepen the learning and spice up the homeschool experience. So here are 8 spicy tips to deepen enjoyment. Regardless of whether you have employed a learning center or a co-op or a packaged text curriculum or online program for homeschooling, these next tips can supplement and enrich any experience. First of all, have students work on memorizing facts and passages as an ongoing exercise throughout the year. Whether these are multiplication tables, poems, the Gettysburg Address, play scripts, or Bible verses, memorization exercises the brain and is relatively easily done for young people. As a later bonus, items memorized in childhood can provide information tools throughout a lifetime. Adults can be surprised at the things they remember that they memorized as youngsters. Have each student select a topic that interests them to research over a period of time. Include many different types of resources in the research, like books, field trips, online study, interviews, museums, experimentation. Encourage students to keep a notebook and to develop projects, design artful displays, build models, write stories and reports about what they're learning. This can be done over a short period of time, and then you can have them research things longer and longer. As they get older, they could research something for a year. Third, give a dictation lesson every day. Here are the steps for that, no matter what the age. Kindergartners, 3 words. Second graders, a sentence. Middle schoolers, a paragraph. First, show a passage to the student from the history book they're using, or the science book they're using, or books that they are reading. The passage should be short for younger people, longer for older students. Whatever the passage is, have the student take some time and write out the passage in their own handwriting. And then they should go through the passage and circle capital letters, spelling that might be difficult, and different kinds of punctuation that they need to pay attention to. After they feel like they've really studied this and know it, have the student come back to the parent and sit down with a piece of paper, and the parent reads the passage to the student while the student writes it from their memory. When you're all done with this exercise, give the written passage to the student so that they can see where they made their errors. If there were enough errors, have them study it again and redo the dictation exercise. This is going to stretch their visual memory and help them learn punctuation, spelling, and capitalization in a different way than they would if it's just textbook learning. Okay, so this is a sample dictation lesson I'm going to show you with these 2 7th graders, Kate and Jackson. And so I've picked a book that's about their level. It's a book called Pocahontas, one that they're reading in class these days. And so I'm going to show you just how simple a dictation lesson can be. I want you to know that because it's so important. It's a backbone for studying grammar, punctuation, and capitalization. They can learn it through osmosis using this project, and you may not even have to order a book if you do it every day. So first of all, I'm going to give them the passage, and for them it's about 3 sentences long, and we're going to look at the passage. Okay, you two, take your pencils and I want you to circle all those capital letters that you see in there, because those will be words that you'll want to capitalize. Okay, now there's a little bit of tricky punctuation. There is an apostrophe that shows ownership, so circle that apostrophe. So right here. And then there's also quotation marks. Notice that the word right after quotation marks is capitalized. Notice the punctuation at the end of the quotation. Anything that's going to need your concentration to spell, something that looks difficult in there? Ah, Pocahontas. Okay, we got O's and A's. You have to find out what order they go in. Is that pretty much it? I'm going to give you a minute to study, but they've already studied. So now I'm going to take these away. It might take a student 5 or 10 minutes. In fact, you might also have them write it out because that's going to reinforce the memory too. Now, I'm going to read it to them and they're going to write it out. Right away, Pocahontas understood that Captain Smith never meant to harm her. Never meant to harm her people. Now I'm going to give you this page, and I'd like you to check your work, and on the work that you just did, circle if you made a mistake, or you can correct it. We'll see if you can do this with no corrections, but if you made errors, go ahead and correct it. Fourth, give a page of cursive writing for the student to work on every day. This could include the dictation lesson passage or memorization project. So why cursive when printing is so prevalent? Students who are familiar with cursive are able to read their grandparents' handwriting when they write them notes. They can read primary sources that were created hundreds of years ago, because most of those were written in cursive. But also, cursive helps bind the letters together in a student's mind, serving as a mental strengthener. Fifth, give math time tests daily. This will give students practice to think quickly and recall quickly. It also helps them learn to deal with stress that time limits can cause. Having math facts memorized for quick recall help those facts become tools for higher level math skills when they shouldn't have to take time to remember how to divide. It's just quick. Number 6, read classic literature or biographies during a short session each day to the students. These are books that students quite often do not select on their own when you go to the library. With the parent reading these to the students in a warm, inviting setting, students will develop a familiarity with the vocabulary and begin to understand the stream of wisdom being portrayed in the story. But if none of this happens, the little ones will just enjoy your company. Number 7, have students take music lessons or enjoy music appreciation. Many different types of music can be studied for music appreciation. Historical timeline music, what happened in the Civil War, how music was different in the Revolutionary War. Classical music. Revival or church music. Each revival of the church has had its own flavor of music. Patriotic and marching music. Foreign and culturally linked music and the instruments that go with it. Or Civil War spirituals. Studying music from different eras can teach stories about the culture of the times. Number 8, keep a calendar or notebook of each student in which you can record observations, thoughts, reminders, and suggestions for the individuals. Make yourself do this on a weekly basis. Over the weeks and months, you will be encouraged about the growth and changes in your student that you may not see in a short period of time. Next year, the journals will serve as reference points for guided decisions. Most of all, these will be keepsakes that you will cherish and might even give to your children on their wedding day. This concludes the tips portion of the presentation. A script of this workshop can be printed off from the HomeLink Yakima website. The Learning Styles book, Who Are You as a Learner and as a Student, can be ordered from the website also. If you have questions about your specific homeschool experience, you may send questions through the website as well. For those of you homeschooling a high schooler, additional information is necessary that will be addressed in the workshop, Homeschooling the High Schooler.